create that type of facility, but we have to figure out how to do it first. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, thank you for the question. And on the Philippines, where we are working on another area, which is agricultural insurance, we have formed a technical working group, which actually is chaired by the Insurance Commission. And in the technical working group, there are all the stakeholders, so the PIRA, private sector, insurance and reinsurance community. We are inviting international reinsurers, we are inviting the Land Bank, AGASA. And yes, we do actually look at, well, forms of private-public partnership with new products to increase the penetration of agricultural insurance, and parametric insurance is a possibility. And having an insurance regulator with us will ensure us from the beginning that he will make the necessary adjustment when it comes to it. To parametric insurance, a quick adding, we talk about this basis risk. I think technology will help to reduce this basis risk, right? Because different and new indexes can be created, first of all. But then also, secondly, I think one can combine parametric with indemnity-based insurance. And so if you have critical risks and high damages that would not fall under the trigger, but still, create losses, with drones, with social media, whatever, I mean, you can report them and you can actually insure them into the package. It's not coming for free, so it has a price. And let me just say, reinsurers internationally, they are willing to provide their capacity, but it has a price. Now, we always look at the consumer side and the demand side to make it affordable, but we should push it a little bit further and say, well, insurance is the promise to pay in a year or in 5 years when I have losses. I have to ensure that my contractual party, the insurance company, will be delivering also. So he needs to be solvent. So there's a fine line between making it affordable but still creating incentive and profit in order to make sure that this insurance industry will fulfill its obligation because it still has the capital. Mind you, we have seen events in the past, be it high catastrophe losses, the World Trade Tower, they have led to bankruptcy of insurance and reinsurance in this world.
Okay, maybe last two questions. So I want to get the gentleman. Yeah, yes, you go ahead.
Hello, I'm Kunal Kripalan from Wealth Impact Advisory and the Urban Economy Forum. My question is on the nexus between poverty reduction, political stability, and disaster risk management. This is an area that sometimes is neglected in these discussions. How do you all factor in disaster risk management and things like insurance, resilient bonds, social impact bond, humanitarian impact bond models, and other financial mechanism schemes, and impact assessments in terms of reducing poverty and political instability? As there's often that discussion that disaster has a big part to play in preventing the reduction in poverty and political stability, and therefore, if these two things aren't addressed, it can hinder political growth and development. That's all. Thank you.
Yeah. So if you refer to my presentation, what we realized, we started with crop insurance.
Yes.
But we realized that I cannot sell insurance unless I link it with livelihoods.
Yeah.
Just paying alone for insurance is not the top priority for a poor person. It's not priority for me as well. So, but we developed a program which is now nicely integrated with the development of the farmer. So what we are now guaranteeing is not the baseline yield. We are guaranteeing a little higher yield to him using technology so that it incentivizes him that, look, I can earn more. And in that process, if he faces a disaster, we are covering his baseline, that his cost of cultivation at least is. So I think you are very right that all these aspects, disaster management, insurance, livelihoods, have to be integrated so that it makes sense for a poor household. And that's what we have been attempting to do.
Maybe I'll make an example. So in the Philippines, during Typhoon Haiyan, what we found out was that those micro, small, medium enterprises who had micro insurance were able to bounce back faster than those who did not. So also, the most impoverished region are those typically hit by typhoons more often. So now, what we're trying to include in our PDP, the Philippine Development Plan, is how to incorporate build forward better in terms of disaster resiliency. So for example, in the Eastern Seaboard, one of the things that we're trying to incorporate is how to help people there have climate resilient livelihoods. Like our Department of Tourism is trying to develop ecotourism to help your people there develop sustainable means of livelihoods. So another thing that we wanted to develop, as Thomas was discussing, is how do you help farmers increase penetration in terms of crop insurance and parametric insurance. So our issue mostly is, for example, in the Philippines, what farmers do is they loan money from, let's say, Land Bank to fund the crop that they will be planting. But then a typhoon hits, and then all of the crops, he wouldn't have any yield anymore. So now he has a loss of yield and he has a loan to pay. And now he doesn't have anything to start with because he lost all of his property. So what is he supposed to do? So that's where we wanted to include parametric type of insurance. And we want to help the private sector because we found it easier for micro insurance to penetrate rural areas faster because they have satellite offices and they could have economies of scale. So for the government, what we're trying to do is try to increase the types of products that they're offering, but ensure that they're at a low cost and it would be beneficial for your farmers and fisher folks.
Thank you.
Okay, so final question from gentleman from the Philippines.
Dan Agustin, Agricultural Sector, Philippines. I'd like to thank Mr. Kessler for pointing out that the risks, not only physical, not only natural, as well as economic. In the agricultural sector, Philippines, we have complied with WTO policy to liberalize the import of rice. As a result, the price of palay in the Philippines, the unmilled rice, went down to the cliff, so to speak. And this is economic risk as far as the farmers are concerned. Do you think, since you are working with our IC, Insurance Commission, you can design one that would address economic risks? And also on preparedness to address to the Good Secretary, adopt the NHA that they cannot put up houses immediately because of our procurement law, procurement delays. And also Mr. Luz used to be with the Ayala Insurance Group, and you have been very active supporting us. I hope you continue to support Philippine agriculture as well. Thank you very much.
Okay, so Thomas?
Yes, so I mean the whole purpose of the agricultural insurance is to strengthen the agricultural sector, actually, and providing sustainability into the investment, to provide him better yields, and so hopefully, you know, this will actually help output and lead to price stability, also regulate, you know, the need of say, secure food security, and regulate the import and the need of foreign supply. I guess what you're asking kind of implies, well, is there insurance for market risk? It's not that easy to assess, but there are examples where combined, you know, we can somehow include, but it's not that easy. But economically, well, it's not just the farmers. I think I just want to point out, we're talking about disasters. There are many disasters, and I think it was pointed out earlier by one of my colleagues that pandemics is also an issue. So in the health sector, there is a lot of leeway, not just for insurance, but technology-based insurance. But I think that would be the subject of another panel.
Okay, well, I'd like to thank all my panelists. I've been asked to give a little summary. So just, I think I have 5 points, very quickly. I think it's very encouraging the how technology and innovations can really help in trying to manage and finance disasters. And I think this will be an increasingly really area for everyone to sort of focus on in terms of integrating it. And I think there's a strong role both for the government as well as the private sector. And so just sort of going off of that point, it seems key that there is good collaboration both internally, meaning domestically, the municipalities, provinces at the national level as well as the regional level, and also between the private and the public sector. And I think some of the data sharing challenges exist, but of course privacy is a key important policy as well. So I think balancing those will be one of the challenges that all governments will face going forward. I think so. The other, I think the encouraging message from the Philippines is that being very proactive in trying to address disaster has been very, very sort of instrumental, I think, in sort of Philippines' way of getting and addressing the costs that inflate as you get more and more disasters. And I think that is a really great lesson that can be shared with other countries. And I think has been shared because Philippines, as I mentioned at the beginning, has been one of the very great examples that we have known that has been dealing with disasters in a very sort of proactive manner. So I think from the data question, because I think we had some discussion about the data, but there is a lot of data around. But I think really it's not only processing, but I feel like data sorting is actually a big issue as well, because there's a lot of data, but what is the appropriate data to use? And then the question becomes then what sort of types of data are you going to collect? Because you don't want to just blindly collect a lot of data because there's no point. And I think that will be also a big challenge in between data collection and processing. Well, how do you sort the data that is really important and you really want? Because obviously there are cost challenges to collecting and processing data. And yeah, I think the final point that I would like to make, and I think it's already been implicit in all the presentations as well as the first session, is that sharing of the knowledge and the sort of experiences of how to integrate technology and innovation has been a very positive experience in the disaster risk realm, and I think this will continue to be an important issue. And as was mentioned earlier, ADB and OECD are cooperating in the APEC forum, but I think there are a lot of areas in which better sort of experience sharing and sort of knowledge sharing might actually improve how the risk understanding is in countries as well. Because I think there was a question about risk understanding within and awareness within countries individually. So with that, I'd like to thank all my speakers. Finally, I'd like to invite Mr. Joaquin Lee to make a
Thank you very much. I think we learned a lot, especially at this session. In addition to our first presentation session, I really want to say thank you very much for all of these wonderful speakers. And I just want to add one more time to big rounds of applause. Allow me to close this very successful session. It's okay for me to call very successful session. You know, we learned a lot from today's discussions and presentation, and also from that presentation, the role of technology and innovation to foster disaster risk management and also the financing. And initial results of the report, an ADB and OECD report, and have highlighted many areas for the policy discussions among APAC and ADB member economies, and also it illustrates very well the potentials of the technology and innovation to enhance both the prevention and response to natural and man-made disaster risk, and to ultimately strengthening resilience to disasters and overall. The policy dialogue and very live discussions, weather risk management, and also Disaster Resilience Foundation, how this private sector initiative actually is working out, and across the sectors and together with the government, and also integrated research on disaster risk. It is very innovative. And also what ADB is doing, I think all of these discussions and really sparked our interest and also the keenness to work together here. And I believe that this is going to create more meaningful report and down the road. And that's also we need, because we need to finalize this the report. And today's discussion it definitely will help a lot. And I really want to say thank you so very much, and once more to OECD colleagues, and also to Mr. Oliver Walker from Vivid Economics. As you know, usually we express the persons and who takes a very long flight, but I just want to say thank you to everybody and our wonderful panelists, and also our the questioners, and who raised very heated, very fruitful, and very productive discussions. I really appreciate all of your keenness and interest in to share this knowledge. And at the end of the day, as she already mentioned, that important thing is that we really need to share our knowledge and how we can work out together, how these all systems and have been effective, why it has been successful, why it's not successful. This kind of knowledge sharing, I think, is very important. And for those who will stay today, and we have another very important events, and in the afternoon we have Hackathon Challenge, which is interesting session, and 5 to 6 for agriculture business projects linked to the fintech, the technology. And also we have a hackathon event today, and these hackathon events together with this the award event, we also have some reception. I want you to join that. And also we have the boot camp, and these fintech boot camp will continue. And I think, is there anything I forgot? I think all of things are really will make you excited and learn a lot today. We have a housekeeping notes. Okay, yeah. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Thanks.
All right, so very quickly, from the organizing team, another reminder to watch the final pitch of Innovation Challenge to support the agriculture sector, which will take place at 5 p.m. today. And it will consist of 3 startups from Indonesia, Philippines, and Singapore, who will present their winning solutions that use frontier technology to help small-scale farmers transition from subsistence farming to sustainable agribusinesses. So please also check out that wonderful event. The organizers, we would like to ask you to use the app, to download the app where you can find a lot of material, as well as a survey, which of course we would like to invite you to take this survey. It always helps to get feedback from participants on the event so we can improve. Okay, so without further ado, let me also invite you for lunch. So lunch is going to be served on the hallway, and thank you very much.